honest, but I got a bug up my butt, so I started to chill out YouTube. I started to do some sanding on this. Um, and I think I showed you guys like last time I'd gotten it down to 220 grit, and now I've taken it down to my lowest grit that I have, which is a 400. And I wasn't planning on showing this because I thought it would just be super boring to watch me endlessly sand this. But the truth is that I'm I found a way to do it that I'm kind of impressed with, I guess. I don't know. I've shown this before, how I've got this to the point where it's so flat that it's acoustic. And that's actually the way that I carved it, was by listening to the sound of it. And as I've been sanding, I've just been going by feel, right? Kind of wiping really fast across it with my finger to feel if there's any major bumps or divots. And most of the time, I'm just hitting pretty hard edges with where there's gaps in the wood. What is it, baby? There's a stray cat that's been hanging around. I wonder if Talon... I wonder if that cat jumped down. I see some shadows out there. One sec, guys. I'm sorry. I need to see if this stray cat and Talon are becoming friends. Hey, baby. What's out there, my love? What's out there? Is that neighborhood cat around here? Yeah? Oh my goodness. Past couple of nights that I've been outside, sitting in my hammock chair, this little stray cat has come up, and it hasn't been brave enough to approach me, I guess. It stands on like the air condenser, which is a little ways off, and it just looks at me, and I talk to it for a minute, you know, call it whatever. I make my goo goo gaga noises at it. It's never come down and let me get close to it, but I wonder if it's come back now and Talon's, because he's making different meows. Like, I haven't heard those kind of meows from him, and he's over by the sliding glass door. Very interesting. Anyways, I'm gonna get back to this. So, as I was saying, acoustically, I've carved this. And before, when I was sanding, I was just using my finger to kind of feel its smoothness. But as I was doing my 400 grit, which I thought would be too boring for everyone, I found out that if I rub the very side of my finger where my callus is, do you hear that? I've never. Hi, baby. Hi. Oh my gosh. The stray cat's right there. Wait, where'd you go? Wait. Did you make a friend? It just jumped up. It just jumped up. Hi, baby. Hi. 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 Hello. Hi, sweetheart. Hi, baby. Hi. Talon, you make a friend? Did you make a friend? Hi. Hi. She's on the ledge. I don't know if it's a girl, but this cat, it maybe just a little bit older than Talon, and it's the one I was talking to you about, and it's just up on the ledge here on our patio, and she's just staring at me and Talon right now. Hi. Hi, baby. I need to find a way to tuck the curtain. Hi, my love. So that I can try and show you guys. Where's the kitty? Talon. Oh, she's coming down. Hi. 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 Hello. Hello. Talon, get over here and flirt with her. Where'd you go? She's looking for you. Can you guys see her? She's right here. She's on the table out there. Talon, get over here. You've got a girl. Oh, she's leaving. Hey, baby, don't leave. Don't leave. Oh, yes, you're so beautiful. Hi. I don't want to let you inside because I'm scared you'll be like crazy feral on me. But we might be getting another cat soon if I train this cat and know that it's good. Hi, beautiful. Hi. Do you want me to leave the window open for you? Okay. Okay. I'll leave it open. I'll leave it open. Talon, Rex, where'd you go? Get over here. Talon. Talon, where'd you go? Talon's in the other room, looking at her through the bedroom window. Oh, they're flirting with each other. Oh man, I hope this isn't like Reverse Lady and the Tramp, where this street cat's gonna. Oh, Talon, where'd your friend go? There she is. They're right here. Hi. Hi. Can you see her outside? No, you can't. Hi, beautiful. This is my little man. Yeah, this is my little man. Where's she going? Oh, now she's playing hard to get. She jumped out there and she like turned her back and was like, oh, check me out. Hi. I don't know if you guys can see her out there. Hi. Oh, she went over to the window and he bolted to the window. I'm gonna peek on him. Hi. Hi. I'm gonna open the door just a little bit, okay? Hi. Oh, I cracked the door. I just have the screen open. I'm gonna see if Talon will meet her. Okay, one sec. Talon? Talon, your girlfriend's over here. Come on, let's go meet her. She's over here. She's over here. There she is. Hi. Hi. Hi, baby. I'm just gonna come over here. Hi. Hi. What if I open this a little more? Hi. Hello. What's that? Hi, baby. Hi. Am I turning into a crazy cat dad? Is this happening right now? Like, this is the fluffiest little floofer. Like, hi, beautiful. I love you. I'm in love with her already. What do I do? What do I do? Hi. Hi. You seem so nice. And Tal and Rex and you were just smelling each other. Hi. What am I supposed to do? I can barely afford to feed Talon. But I can't just let a cat like be. Hi. It doesn't look that old. here now. Hi. Hi, pretty. What do I do? Here, baby. Want some smiley fingers? This is my little boy. His town Rex, Astro Brown. Hi. Oh, I don't know what to do. He's so cute. He has like the biggest eyes. What do I do? You see it, right? Like you see the cat. Hi. Hi. You have such beautiful eyes. You're so fluffy. What do you think, Talon? What do you think of that kitty out there? Do I make a little shelter outside? Okay. You're beautiful. Yes, you are. Talon, you're not even a year old and you're making girlfriends with the street cats? What have I raised? You little scoundrel, you. Come here. Come here, let me give you some love, my beautiful boy. Come here. You can see her better from up here. Come here. Oh, you don't want to. Oh, she went to their secret hiding spot, I guess. This is dangerous because there's two things that can happen, okay? Number one, I end up adopting this cat, but it's a street cat, and like, is it gonna want to run away or something? Like, does it have diseases? Hi, baby. Hi. Okay, so if I adopt this cat, I can barely feed my own cat, but now I've got another one, but he's got a companion, right? But if I bring it in, is it gonna try to run away? Is it gonna take my other cat with it? Like, I don't like. Do I just let them be boyfriend girlfriend? Like, in between? What do I do? I'm gonna do some sanding while I mull this over. What I can tell you is this has been one heck of a night. So, I've almost got the bed finished in the background. But today was crazy. Because I'd signed my daughters up for a local Christmas charity. It's called Coins for Kids. Because I don't have money to be able to pay for Christmas. And anyways, there was a family that adopted my girls and came over tonight and brought just a pile of gifts for each of them. And it was just touching, you know, to know that there's people that do that, because the reality is I can't wait until I'm able to be that person, because I want so bad to participate in the world in that kind of way, like giving and making things better. Talon's still flirting with his girlfriend. Yeah, she's by the other window, baby doll. You'll see her better in there. But anyways, they dropped off these gifts for the girls, and they were super sweet, and I couldn't help it. I started crying, you know, because I can't afford Christmas for them, and here these people are, out of the goodness of their heart, they're doing something nice for me and my daughters. And not only that, they were being extremely personal with the gifts, and they had really taken into consideration the personality of the girls and what they might actually enjoy for Christmas. They didn't just willy-nilly go out there and, you know, get what's trendy. They got personalized gifts for the girls, and I let the girls open up one gift apiece. There's about, I don't know, there was about 10 gifts apiece per girl, maybe, something along those lines. So I let them open one, and they were just awesome. Like, Elsie got a pair of shoes, a pair of Adidas that were really nice, and they fit perfectly. And Harper got a very personalized gift from Japan that was a Chainsaw Man action figure thing. It was like the dog, but it was Lego pieces. So anyway, it overwhelmed me. I started crying, and then I got to give hugs to the young couple that had adopted my girls, and it was just touching and moving. I'm very excited to open the rest of the gifts when Christmas time rolls around. But because of those people, it's just reinforces more and more the type of person that I want to be, you know? And that I haven't quite reached my final form. That there's still layers that I can take down and refine and build better and more beautiful. I want to do that. I don't ever just want to be stagnant, you know? I'll always be working on myself, smoothing myself out. Man, look at what we are revealing right here. That is freaking gorgeous. What you doing, baby? You all riled up with girlfriend? Or it might be a boy. I don't know. I would assume maybe it's a boy. Because they're like both being chill with each other. And if it was like two girls, or if it was like a boy and a girl, or I don't know. I don't know what's going on. What I do know is that this piece of wood is developing. I don't know if you guys can see it. It's developing an entirely new grain pattern. and I've only sanded a little bit. Isn't that wild? But this dead spot right here is starting to transfer through onto this side. Ever so slightly starting to show its face. But when you rub your finger on it, so smooth. Listen to this. Can you guys hear this? It is so smooth, and it's just acoustically beautiful. Oh, it just sounds so nice. That's the way I want to be. I want to be so incredibly tuned. Just so smooth. Gosh, this tiger or zebra stripe. Oh. There's a crease right there. It's ever so subtle. Well, the truth is, how do you take out a crease like this? How do you take an object that's already incredibly smooth, find an imperfection, which really isn't an imperfection? It's still smooth, it's beautiful. But to someone like me, I can feel that it's not 100% whole. It's not exactly where it needs to be. And how do I get it to where it needs to be? Well, step number one, I've got to be willing to put a lot of elbow grease into it. A lot of work goes into smoothing out the smallest. The second thing is, well, the first thing I guess would be you have to be able to feel it. Second thing is you got to be willing to put in the elbow grease. The third thing is that you've got to be persistent, because your ego's gonna tell you to stop sooner. It's gonna say things like, you don't need to do that last little bit. Nobody's gonna notice. Nobody. That's bullshit. Number one, I'll notice. Number two, if anyone's willing to look at this with the kind of beauty and awe that it's taken me to make it, they'll notice. And they won't think any less of it. But they'll know I didn't get the character 100%. Yes, my love. What is it? You upset your girlfriend last? Yeah. I had a conversation with a friend of mine about our interpretations of deja vu. Her interpretation of deja vu was kind of like a warning telling her that she'd been in that position before and that it was time to move on. My perception of deja vu is the exact opposite. It's that I've been there before, and instead of moving on, it's a road marker for me to know that I'm on a good path. And she wondered how to reconcile that with her own interpretation. And so I explained to her the way that I think about the universe, the way I think about existence, life. The truth is that I believe that there is an infinite number of realities existing simultaneously, all of which are fueled by an infinite number of choices made at an infinite number of time intervals throughout our existence. Every second of every day there's a choice to do something different, and some choices are minor, some choices are major. But either way, all of those choices lead to a different reality. The choices I make stay here with me. The choices that I could have made are made by other versions of myself, and that existence is lived. And there are rare occasions in this, what I consider multiplicity of different realities stacked right next to each other, kind of existing as like waves of energy. There's an occasion to me when those waves will collide and they'll come together. And at those points, I think of it as a coalescence where this path and this path have met each other, and they're creating a better vibration. And in my opinion, the idea would be through the entirety of my life to follow these moments of coalescence, of convergence within the patterns of my life. These great moments that if I'm able to get them all to come together, then every vibration at some point will be the exact life that I'm living, the only reality. That's what I think, is that I ultimately am trying to work towards combining all of my knowledge of all my existences from all my good and bad choices to create an ultimate existence. I don't think that I'm like the ultimate version of myself, but what I do know is that every single version of myself exists to help the other versions, and that we're not exclusive to the realities that we live in. And sometimes one version will leave a warning or a road marker for another version. And that's what I think deja vu is. And I've thought about it many times, and I've said that for myself, it feels like I've got every version of myself in an auditorium. And when I say version of myself, I mean those coalescence of the universe where I make a different decision and create a new vibration. At major points in my life, I've diverged from serious crossroads, and I could have gone one way or another. And both of those choices at those serious crossroads exist in an auditorium as the audience. And I, living in the present moment, am on the stage, just participating in life. And these other versions of myself are all watching, and I can't necessarily see or hear them, but I know that they're there. And occasionally the actor up on the stage, the me in the existence that I'm perceiving at this moment, will do things that cause the audience members, past versions of myself, to cheer and clap and become involved in whatever the scene is happening before us. And that cheering from my versions of myself is ultimately what guides me. into making choices that coincide with not pleasing all of them, but with making the auditorium alive with interest and intrigue, if nothing else, potentially entertainment. That's the way I think of deja vu, is it's a moment when all the versions of myself come together in an agreement that I'm in the right place at the right time. And then I had this conversation, about deja vu with my friend. Before that, I had had a conversation with my brother about intelligence, because he had said that he and his wife, after a conversation, they both said how impressed they were at how intelligent I am and how smart I am, and they were praising me, and I said I haven't done anything, and they were quite confused at that response. And I'll get back to the auditorium, but they were confused when I said I haven't done anything, but thank you. They were like, what do you mean? Where does your intelligence come from then? And I explained to them that, in my opinion, my genetics hold the stories of my ancestors, their traumas, their discoveries, their hurts, their everything. My genetics carry that information. And every time at this point in my life that I have discovered something, if you will, it's not really me discovering anything, it's just me tuning in to one of my ancestors' understanding of the universe that they already had, that now I have tuned into. I have tuned my mind, I have built myself to the point where I now can perceive and understand that reality that my ancestors lived. And so I explained to my brother that my intelligence at this point is 100% based upon the discoveries of my ancestors. I have only unlocked what they have discovered in my own mind, and therefore giving me the perception that I am intelligent. But I haven't discovered anything on my own, right? Like, the only thing that I've done is tuned my mind to understand the concepts that my ancestors were able to decipher on their own. I haven't done anything, right? Like, I haven't learned anything. Do you think I've really learned something? To learn something means that you have taken a complete unknown, a shadow, and you are able to bring light to it and understanding, right? Like that's learning. It's stepping into an ultimate void and being able to illuminate that void for others to understand. So all of my intelligence is based upon the discoveries of my ancestors to this point, because everything that I've discovered, even the deep things that I thought, man, I'm creating new ideas here, right? And I would write in my journal about these thoughts that I would have. And then I go to doctoral school and I'm learning about these things in books that have been around for 2,000 years. And I'm like, motherfucker, I thought I was learning new things, but it just turns out that I hadn't tapped into that vein of knowledge in the universe yet. I had I had kind of gotten a taste of it, but I hadn't fully developed to be able to understand that concept. And then now, being a doctoral student, I can understand those concepts. And so now I'm just realizing that I'm only learning the things that my ancestors have learned. I'm just repeating history at this point, and I haven't discovered anything new. But the time will come, if I continue to search, that I will learn something, and I will become the sage that will have an answer to questions that nobody else has. That may sound egotistical, but I feel as though that's my final evolution, if you will. That I meant to give wisdom, and I don't know how, and I don't know why, other than I've lived a life that's been absolutely, I don't know, bipolar. It's been bipolar. So confusing and yet so awesome and wild all at the same time. Raw and unbridled, but controlled and dictated. It's a very interesting life. Anyway, because of that, I have the uncanny ability to connect with the vast majority of people in some way. And because of that ability to connect with people in some way, I truly believe that eventually I'll learn something. I'll learn something real. I'll discover something that will change me, and if I'm able to interpret it for the world to understand, then it'll change the world too. But I also think that ambition, that sensation that I have for myself is not exclusive to myself. I don't believe that I'm the only one that can discover something, truly learn something to teach and share with the world. I think everyone's capable of that, and hopefully for those watching that watch regularly, that you know at the end of my streams, I tell you all that you're capable of anything, any transformation. I hope you believe it, because it is true. So I think that ultimately my goal, my design for existence is to unite people in a more cohesive way of thinking and living and doing stuff. Because I think the world can just operate so much better. I think the main reason it doesn't is because ego dominates our political systems, because ego dominates those kind of celebrities, if you will. A lot of people tend to think the same way, and so we create these mystical, magical, indeterminate lines to divide people. And it's all because people are scared. They're uncomfortable with the way the world is. Man, that is so thin. Oh. Alright, y'all. You know what? I cold crashed this mead. It's fantastic. It's honey and pineapple. It wasn't quite ready yet. I could have let it ferment for a little bit longer, but I wanted to pull out and test it because I had a new brew that I was putting in, a really experimental brew. I mean, I'm talking experimental. Anyway, so I pulled it out, I cold crashed it, I tried it, and it's fucking phenomenal. Pineapple and honey, absolutely amazing. So I'm going to grab myself a cup of that, because I've already got a full bottle out that I'm going to give to one of my friends, if they accept it, of course, because I don't know if they like pineapple, but my God, it's good. So I'm going to grab another cup of that. Give me just a second, and we'll get back to my crazy rant while I fan some wood. Are you trying to show your pretty bow to your girlfriend, Talon? Yeah, are you just so sad that she's not right there? Yeah. Yes, my love. Yes, my love. What is it, baby? What? What? I can't just convince her to come over and see you, okay? Well, now I know you got a girlfriend. I'll make sure you get more opportunities to see her, okay? Whew. He's getting all sassy with me about his girlfriend. Oh, can you guys see this? I wish you could smell it. It is like pina colada without the coconut. And it tastes like it too, but it has got a very alcohol presence to it. But it's also like bubbly. I don't know. It's like a champagne. It's like it's so good. Oh my gosh. I wish you guys could taste it. You guys see our progress? Yes, these parts are so smooth now. Have a little bit of a bump there. A little bit of a bump here. I know, my love. She's out there somewhere. I know she is. Oh, this is so smooth though. Come here. You don't want to check on... You don't want to check the quality control, huh? Gosh. It is so good. This spot is starting to come through right here. There you are. Okay. Okay. There it is. So by making these minute changes, taking this time to whittle this wood down, it's like discovering my genetic lineage, connecting with the ancestors of my past. Because if you think that this piece of wood right here, if you think that by revealing all of this beautiful grain, that you're only seeing this in existence now, then I don't know how to explain to you that it took generations to make this wood. Generations to grow these rings, to have this dead wood, and then to have new wood grow around it. The pressure that causes this zebra striping, all of this stuff, it didn't just happen overnight, right? It didn't appear when the wood was cut. It took generations. Who knows how many years it took, right? With the dying and rebirth, the different channels that are created. This is like my ancestors, like your ancestors, right? Every winter, every summer, every spring is etched into this wood for years and years. And I go through and I listen to it and sand it down to reveal the turmoil that some went through and the relative safety that others lived in. Generations of plenty where it was lots of growth. Generations where This tree nearly died. You can see a hard cut ring, and it goes all the way around straight through here. This tree almost died multiple times. So what I'm revealing is generations of knowledge and history all trapped in these rings. And that's what I am. I'm a piece of wood, a raw piece of wood. And if I'm able, through my own trials, through my own education, to slowly chip away at this and whittle it down, then I'm revealing the understanding that my ancestors had. It has nothing to do with me, right? I'm just the one that's showing all the beautiful that everyone else before me went through. I'm just like this wood. You're just like this wood. Generations of knowledge, all existing. So how do you become the person that discovers something and not just another ring in the wood? How do you become the one that doesn't just join with everyone else? Well, you turn into the carpenter. You grab the history, you carve it down piece by piece to show the world and yourself that you've learned everything that your ancestors have learned. That's why my logo is a cicada, and why Zitravu means trust the roots. It's because with cicadas, they live there in most of their life underground, almost the entirety of it. In some cases, 17 years. All underground. No parents, no supervision, no nothing. No training guide, no manuals, no nothing. They literally are just kind of dropped off and expected to survive for 17 years. And how do they do that? How do cicadas do that? Well, they live off the sap of the tree roots. That's how they survive. Burrow themselves down into the ground, sticking close to the tree so that they can suck the nutrients out of the tree. The deeper that they go into the roots, the more pure the nutrition is that they can get. But you run a risk the deeper you go, not being able to be present for the signals when it's time to rise up out of the ground and go to mating season. But anyway, yeah, they have to live their whole lives without their parents, just discovering, sucking from the same roots their parents did, who sucked from those same roots that their parents did, who sucked from those same roots that their parents did. And they just have to trust the roots. And they just have to learn what they can without the guidance of the previous generations. That's how I feel it is for me. I have to learn, or I am learning, through the guidance of previous generations. But have I tapped into new ground? Have I learned anything different? Have I changed the vibration of the universe? No. At this point, all I've done is I've joined together the thoughts, feelings, and emotions associated with my ancestry. Someday I'll discover something. That's my goal. Is to make a real discovery to help the world. And again, even at that point, discovery to learn something, like Albert Einstein or Darwin, or whatever. To make these groundbreaking realizations. I don't want to do it for fame or anything, and even at that point, I'm not going to be really teaching anyone anything new. I'm just going to be revealing a truth of the universe, something that exists regardless of what we do, something that we're oblivious to, like the fact that we live in a cell, like we're part of a single cell organism, like our entire solar system exists within a bubble. I'm not sure if you guys know that, but recent research shows that there's an invisible wall around our entire solar system. A cell wall. I really think we're inside of a cell, which is part of a bigger organism, bigger reality than what we could ever expect to understand, while at the same time being at a position that lower organisms could never understand, like a bacteria or virus. If there is any sort of consciousness that they have, do you think that they would be able to perceive and understand us? What is it, my love? Are you so sad your girlfriend left? Yeah? You're so upset? Well, what do you want me to do? You're gonna drink all of your sorrows away? Little man, that is not the answer. Trust me. Trust me, you don't want to drink all your problems away. Careful, baby. Go check the bedroom window. Go take your beautiful bow into the bedroom window so that you can impress your girlfriend. So yeah, like I was saying, excuse me. Do you think if a bacteria has any sort of consciousness, which how the hell would we be able to perceive ultimately if it does? If it knows that it exists, we have no idea. How are we going to verify that? But let's just say that it does have some sort of consciousness. Even if its consciousness was as intelligent as we are, do you think that a bacteria would be able to comprehend that its existence is as minuscule and minute as it is compared to us? It's just layers upon layers. Anyways, I'll stop ranting. I'll start sanding. Because I am really close. There is ever so slightly a bulge right here. And I am really feverishly trying to get it down without leveling this out, because this is now softer material than this is, so I'll have a tendency to dip it if I'm not careful. So continuing on with my analogy of the auditorium, right, like me right now sanding this piece of wood, talking to you in this existence that we're sharing. This is me on the stage and out watching me and perceiving every motion, every thought, everything is that auditorium filled with those versions of me. But I always thought that that's all that was there, right? These different versions of me, different personalities of myself. But as I've talked about with my ancestry, there was always empty seats in the auditorium. You know, I haven't made that many major transitions in my life. The truth is that I've had micro transitions within my major transitions, but maybe only 4 at this point, and I'm living in the 4th right now. 4th major transition in my life. And I believe that there's one more, because cicadas have a 5th instar state before they emerge as their sex-crazed adult form. But, ooh, I almost got it. But there was always seats filled or empty in that auditorium, because even with my different versions of myself and those major transition points where if I would have decided a different way, that version of me still exists in the audience. Even with that, there's empty seats. The auditorium is gigantic, right? It is the size of a theater. And so I didn't realize that those empty seats were filled. They're filled with personalities of my ancestors, of my DNA, the genetic code trapped inside me. The genetic code that is now manifesting itself in this time in reality through me. Those seats are filled with my ancestors, their knowledge, their bias, their traumas, their education, their love, their hatred. They exist in a totality for themselves, entire generations represented in one seat filled in my auditorium. Another critic to observe the play of life and to tell me whether or not I am on the right path or if I'm deviating. And again, for me, silence means I'm in the wrong place. When the crowd's active and talking, happy and jovial, then I know that I'm in the right place. If the crowd is agitated, unsure, rowdy, I know I'm in the wrong place. Follow the instincts of my ancestors, combined with the quote-unquote knowledge that I've unlocked myself. Ultimately, what it creates is just an idea of who I am right here and right now. It's just revealing the reality of the life that has been lived inside of me, who knows, thousands of times. Male, female, irrelevant. Passed down generation to generation to generation until it reached me. Now I'm the recipient of all of that history. For my entire life, I was scared by it, right? Because it's like, oh, there's these shadowy figures that are sitting in the auditorium. I don't know who they are or what their intentions are. So I would always scare myself into believing that I just wasn't good enough no matter what, and that I would hide away and just follow the trends, whatever's popular in the moment. But as I've stated before, whatever's popular in the moment, whatever the trends are, that's like in your larva form as a cicada. That's you just hanging out at the surface, sucking on the roots of the weeds around the gigantic oaks that you should be feasting on. That's what the trends are. That's what the fashion is. It's the stuff that comes and goes like the changing of the season. And those weeds at the top there, above the roots of the tree, they can be exotic at certain times, present interesting and delicate flavors, but it always passes, never sticks. However, the tree, the large oak tree, the deciduous trees that the cicadas use for their larval development, the roots that they use. If you go deep into the roots, you'll always get more nourishment. It's a steady, stable supply. Tried, true, tested, standing throughout time. And you trust that, right? Or are you gonna trust the seasonal shit, the trendy shit that comes and goes, never really digging into life, never really experiencing the true joys and happiness that comes from doing things that take a long time, like carve this piece of wood. This has taken me forever, but not really, you know, not like forever in reality. But I have dedicated a significant portion of my life to the beautification of this one piece of wood. You know what? I'm going to put a new edge on this one. I know that by speaking about following ancestry, that I, to a certain degree, contradict my own preachings, if you will, because the dogmatic following of traditions is something that I am staunchly against. I don't like the idea of just following blindly what somebody's saying is supposed to be what you're doing. And to me, again, just following the trends of the day, whatever ruler is currently there. And ruler could be king, or it could be a celebrity, it could be a trend, whatever preoccupies the most time from the people, right? Whatever dictator dictates the time of the people. Anyway. At some point, you have to realize that it's easy to be told what's right or what's wrong. It's easy to absorb information that's thrown in your face. The trendy stuff, what's fast and quick, the memes on the internet. That's why I like old knowledge that's been around, tried, true, and tested, books, true knowledge. It's out there, and you don't have to listen to the personalities that are vying for your attention. And why should you give them your attention? What's the point? All you're doing is fueling a temporary ego. They're not growing from it. You're not growing from it. You're just satiating a slight desire inside yourself to just be able to not think, not do things, which I understand. Don't get me wrong. I'm not judging the average person. I myself like to just mindlessly do things. Watch cartoons and shit. Stand on some wood. but mindlessly following the trends of the world based upon what others say. It's a dangerous path. I don't think she's out there telling Rex. Lived my entire life based upon others' feelings, emotions, interpretations. Never trusted myself. Let's see, we've gone through 2. This will be 3rd. Okay, I've only got 4 left. So I need to only use this next one and half of the one following. Hopefully we can get it done. Get it. I should put on some noise in the background. What time is it? It's probably late. Oh well. I'm just gonna keep standing and muttering to myself. It's funny though, because like these conversations that I'm having, like this one right now, isn't anything new to me. I have these conversations in my own mind quite frequently throughout the day. It's how I interpret the universe most of the time. I have to discuss it with the auditorium, if you will. Discuss it with the people who are willing to help me interpret it, my previous personalities, major shifts in understanding, as well as the ancestral knowledge that I have to this point unlocked, which obviously isn't everything, but I've had great conversations with members of my past. I don't know their names. I don't know their exact histories, but I know the knowledge that they attained, and I know that aspects of myself would not be if it wasn't for them and the life that they lived. So I talk to them. I try to get their approval for things, because it's important. Making sure that you stay connected to the history is important. Because we're all created ultimately out of the same stuff. We're just stardust. Stardust that all coalesced together. Created a new universe, right? This little bubble that we live in our solar system. We're all just particles of the same crap that was floating around, right? Everything that collected into one spitball that we now call Earth and has managed to become our home. But even with what's here on this gigantic spitball that we call Earth, there's not really much that has continued at this point to join in way of what you might consider material, particles, life. Everything that exists on our planet has existed there, excluding the rarest of additions through comets and meteors or asteroids and shit like that, right? Just space debris entering into our gravitational pull. The vast majority of what Earth is at this point has been Earth for a very long time. And us, in our current state as human beings, are only one iteration of the exact same particles that have made up this exact mortal existence forever. We're just recycled shit from before. And that's, I mean, seriously, like at some point, every atom, every particle in your body has been ingested by some animal, shat out at some point, and joined the earth again to only be recycled into something else. But eventually, coalesced into you, the spunk bubble that found the egg and fucking turned into a human being. But every particle that exists in you right now was not part of you when you were born. Every single atom, everything, neutron, electron, all of it has changed, has shifted. You are not even close to who you were when you were born, nor is the world, nor is the universe for that matter. It's in a constant state of flux and changing. But you, currently, at this point, who you are and the life that you're living, you are just one iteration of the shit that you're made of. The carbon, the nitrogen, the hydrogen, all of that shit, the sodium. You are just one tiny iteration of that. Tomorrow, a whole fuckload of what you used to be will be gone. You're going to shit it out. And it's going to die inside your gut, and blood cells are going to burst and rupture, and it's going to spill mitochondria everywhere, and nutrients, and all sorts of shit. But at a certain point, every single part of who you are, every little speck that makes you, you, will be gone. Like I can't remember the statistic of how long it takes for every part of you to be recycled, but it's not that long, and you'd be surprised. So you are continually renewing yourself here from the material that's already here. That is material that's already been here since here was here. You're just this version of it right now. And the consciousness that you are at this point, all it's going to do is it's going to operate this current iteration of yourself that again is going to change, and who the fuck knows how long. I mean, it's not that long for your whole body, every cell in your body to die and be replenished. You're constantly replacing each and every one of the elements of your body just by breathing, just by existing, by eating food, all of it. Quite literally, you are changing the universe by every second that you are what you are and who you are. You understand? Like, you literally make every difference in the universe. What you do at this moment in time, regardless of whether you think it's impactful or not, you quite literally are your own universe. You quite literally are creating, changing, altering, dictating the reality of countless beings that require you for their existence. You are literally their God. Feed them with your feelings, emotions, the nutrients you take into your body. You are their God. Isn't that weird to think about? Even like, say, I don't know, if you've got parasites. I think the parasite understands what it's doing in the grand scheme of things, or is it just acting on a natural law that it's been programmed to do through its genetic code? But it's existing in you, and the transfer of nutrients creates a relationship, could potentially be symbiotic, but one that requires a host for continued existence. Even that, do you think that that parasite knows what it is and what it's doing and what it's impacting? Do you think it knows it's feasting on a larger animal, or is it just following chemical scents and trails that have been pre-programmed? Is that all you are? Is just a version of chemical scents and trails that are pre-programmed to act a certain way? Or are you like really a being of intuition that is able to interpret the world in a different way, create a new frequency, if you will, start your own channel? And I don't mean that like a YouTube channel that changed the world. I mean literally, you are your own universe. You create your own existence. Because, I mean, even us living in this moment right now, me speaking and sanding this wood and trying to be philosophical, even in this moment, right? Is, I just created a own profound thought for myself that I'm mulling over right now. So if I'm living my existence right now by talking to you, carving this wood while you're watching, and you're living your universe existing by watching it, we're connected through this tether. We have a coalescence of our universes, right? We're creating something new and different and special that would not be possible if I wasn't doing what I'm doing and if you weren't doing exactly what you're doing. So are we a parasite off of each other? Is it a symbiotic relationship? Or is this the type of thing where, like, if a tree falls in the wood and no one's there to hear it, does it make a sound type of thing? Would this reality be reality without somebody watching it? If I was the only person here in this room talking to myself with nobody watching it, I don't even know if there's people on, but if I was the only person here and there's nobody here to hear it, would that be making any sort of difference in the universe? Am I just a tree falling in the forest with no one to hear the sound? Unless somebody is there to hear the sound. The reality of this situation is happening, but it's only happening to me until I turned on the camera and shared this moment with anyone willing to watch. And then this moment has now become a reality of existence within two universes. And whoever else joins in, that number will grow. But would that reality be a reality if I was the only one that experienced it? And would it matter if I was the only one? Because would I be able to explain it to somebody to make it important to them? Would there be a reason to ultimately try and convince somebody of the reality that I had lived? Hey, I have a YouTube channel, I did a video, I did a stream. Wouldn't that just be me trying to accomplish the same thing? Me reaching out advertising in a certain way to try and have other people join in to my universe, my way of thinking, even if only temporarily. Collaborative effort in creation of the universe. Well, I can't call it a universe because it's not one. It's definitely multi. But I don't like the idea of multiverse. Again, I believe that its existence of vibration, simultaneously experiencing the same space, just at a different note. Which is funny because if you talk about space and sound and vibrations, right, they say that there's no sound in space, right, because it relies upon vibrations, the movement of particles through some sort of substrate, like air or water, a material of some kind, an element of some kind. But in the vacuum of space, there's nothing there. So there's no vibration, no waves are able to be produced, so no sound, quote unquote, is produced. Hey, dang, baby boy. How did you get under there? Ooh. But, again, I ask weird and stupid questions that are all tied together in a mad tapestry of knowledge and understanding, some of which is good, some of which is total shit. But what are you clawing out up there, buddy? But if there's no substance within the vacuum of space for sound to be able to vibrate through, does that mean sound doesn't exist? Or does that just mean that if you were to make sound through space, that it would carry infinitely until something was able to pick it up, to vibrate on the right frequency, to be able to allow that to happen? Right? Because, like, if radio waves are sent out through the universe and they can basically travel infinitely, and same thing with most waves that we're aware of, light and rays and things like that. So, like, if radio waves are sent all the way across, they're just basically a vibration, right? And that's being transferred through the open and empty vacuum of space. So if they're able to travel through it, that's just like sound, vibration, waves, movement of particles, etc. So doesn't that just mean that the vacuum of space is something that we aren't able to interpret and understand yet? Because our conventional way of thinking, oh man, that's getting good, isn't able to fully interpret that reality. But if the medium for the correct vibration is ever reached, then that object will be able to interpret that knowledge, if you will, that vibration. That's the way that I think about gaining knowledge, like truly learning something. Truly learning something will be me tuning my mind, my spirit, my body into some aspect of the universe that hasn't been interpreted, some wave that's being sent all the way through and around inside of our existence that hasn't been interpreted but is still playing a role within the reality that we live in. Hi, beautiful. That vibration, I'll be able to eventually tune my mind, my spirit, if you will, my existence in becoming the medium that would be able to receive and interpret that type of situation. Man alive, this is getting beautiful. I love you, baby boy. And it's funny because I've been asked before if I'm on drugs and crazy for some of the stuff that I've said previously. And the answer is yes, I am. But that's irrelevant to the way that I think. The drugs aren't influencing my perception of reality. Reality is influencing my understanding of my existence. That's a pretty different distinction. And I think most people don't understand that they're in charge of dictating exactly what they are able to accept in this existence, this reality that we are co-opting together, that we have chosen to be in together. It always has fascinated me that up to this point in human existence and evolution, that at the time of a person of great influence, the time that they live is not the time that they make the greatest impact. It is future generations that exist far beyond the actions of people that are influenced by it. Right? Like, one of my favorite historical figures is Socrates. I love Socrates. He's just a smart bum. Just a smart vagrant. And he would just hang around and he would talk to people. And he developed his own method of communication that allowed him to unlock a better understanding of other people's way of thinking and the existence that they lived in. It's called the Socratic method now. Anyway, Socrates, he's just a fucking badass and I love him, but he was just a vagrant. Nothing special. Just a regular guy that liked to talk, discover what other people knew, share that knowledge with the next generation. Socrates was ultimately killed. A public execution. He's poisoned. He's poisoned by the political leaders of the major city in which he lived. Their excuse for killing him, which of course was primarily just jealousy, their excuse was that he was corrupting the minds of the youth, particularly young men who would come speak with him, talk about things, the universe, and whatever it was that Socrates and that person was able to talk about. Because that's what he would do, that's how he lived. He would just hang around the city center, the bazaar, and he would just wait for people who wanted to talk to him. They would come and talk, and he would reciprocate, and they would buy him a beer or a sandwich or something and carry on a conversation. The more, obviously, the more that you were able to keep Socrates entertained, through good conversation and food and otherwise, then obviously the more the conversation would continue. I would love that. I'd love to go back and talk to him. But I would love to do so not knowing that it was him, right? Because if I knew that it was him and I was having a conversation, I wouldn't know what to ask. I wouldn't know what to talk about. I would be too embarrassed and yada yada yada. I'd fanboy out. I would geek out hardcore. But if I was just able to have a conversation, just a real one, over a glass of mead, talk about this weird shit that I'm talking about now, the universe, existence, the meaning of life, all that shit. I would love that. I'd love to become that. Anyways, that's a side note. Socrates, because of that, because he just hung out and talked to people and told them the truth that he'd experienced through his life and through the knowledge of talking with who the fuck knows how many people. They tried him because he was corrupting the minds of the youth, as I said, and then they publicly executed him. They had him drink poison, poisoned him to death. Isn't that wild? But anyways, the reason why I tell you that is they killed him at the time that he was alive. He was a threat. They didn't understand him and what he stood for and what he was doing. So they killed him. But his teachings, his story lived on. Now it's something that has inspired the whole world. If nothing else, it's inspired me. Not to say that I'm worth all of the trouble to be inspired, but in his time, he was reviled, despised, ultimately killed, because the trends of the day weren't able to stand up to what he was saying. So they got rid of him. But now, in the future, more civilized people have been able to pick up his teachings and his story and turn it into something that's useful and helpful. And we praise Socrates for being a rock star. But at the time that he was alive, he was a madman, a vagrant, a threat to be disposed of. And I bet that they thought that he would just be forgotten. But somehow his story survived. Somehow the impact that he made is big enough that we've heard it, that I've heard it, and that it's now something that is in existence for other people. And it's useful and helpful. But at the time it was rejected and hated. Except for by the few who would meet with Socrates, right? Who would actually sit down and have conversation with him. Those people who did that, they were the ones that ultimately make the difference, right? The reality of that situation then turned into what they chose it to be. Luckily, history allowed that to survive. The story, obviously, of Socrates' demise survived. But if those people who caused that demise were able to continue to perpetuate the story that the narrative that they wanted you to hear, then all you'd ever know, if anything, was that Socrates was a piece of shit that tried to destroy the empire, whatever, I don't know, some mystical, magical in between. But if that was the reality that was able to be perpetuated by them, then that's all that we'd know about the situation is the shit that was being told by the people who killed Socrates. When in reality, the true story was told later by the people who loved and cared for Socrates, understood the value of who and what he was and what he stood for. They perpetuated the correct story. So now it's like, who, like what, who do you want to be? Because they're both remembered, the person that killed Socrates, I can't remember his name, but it's in the history books. So I guess who do you want to be? Like, do you want to be remembered as the person that tried to kill beauty and art progression? Or do you want to be the purveyor of such things? I wish you guys could feel this. Oh, that meat is so good. But it is so powerful. Pretty dang good, I would say. Alright, let's put just a dab of mineral oil on it. We'll see how she turns out. see the oil penetrating through the wood. That's how thin this is. It's literally paper thin. The oil is seeping through. Oh, Justin. You're fucking magnificent. Oh man, I am so excited to beeswax this and then burnish the shit out of it. Oh yeah, this is gonna be so freaking good. Alright, I'm gonna end it. This was the back side. We're basically done with the back side. I'm gonna do one more round of more or less polish on this, polish sanding. That's it for this side. And then we've got to repeat the process on the other side. So that means I'm gonna have to go through all of the grits again on all of this. I'm excited for that though, because this piece, I don't know if I explained this to you, but how cool this is and how dangerous it is for me to cut it this close. Anyway, if you look at this side, the way that everything is it's pretty flat, right? Pretty flat. Okay, so the wood, it's easy to follow the grain, right? Because it's straight. This side is not the same. If you look where this edge of wood is in comparison to where this edge of wood is, it is not straight. And it's offset at certain points. That's an inch of difference. I don't know if you can see that. So this actually is riding on real wood under here somewhere. And I need to be careful because this bark piece, if you can see this, the wood comes up this way at a very striking angle. So that's why the piece kind of guided me to have this side thick and this side thinner, because this side's straight and this side it's at a dramatic angle. It's probably hard to see on the video, but again, I love you all. And just like this piece of wood, you can turn yourself into anything that you can imagine. Even if you think that you're not, you are beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. God, I can't wait to get to this. I mean, I wish you guys could see how cool this grain pattern is because of the dead wood. Absolutely magnificent. Anyways, I love you all. Have a beautiful, fantastic evening. I will try to do the same. See if Talon can get over the fact that his girlfriend's not around. I love you all. Till next time. Peace.